Today we got a little difference in scenery, boys. I figured we're gonna do a different type of video, so might as well record somewhere else rather than just the garage, which we always normally do. What's going on, guys? Today I'm gonna be answering a question that I get a lot, actually. I get asked all the time where I find project cars for so cheap, how I look for them, and just there's a bunch of questions along with that, and today I'm gonna be trying my best to answer those questions and also just kind of teach you guys how I personally look for project cars, how I offer for them, where I look for them, and just all that good stuff. So I'm gonna be using the 350Z as an example. We picked this project car up for pretty cheap, didn't dump a ton of money into repairs, and I think that absolutely anybody could have just bought this car and it would have been a great find. So now the first thing is where do you find these cars? Where do you find cars that you want to modify? Where do you find potential project cars? A lot of people look on Craigslist. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Craigslist. I don't like used car dealerships either. I personally think that they're really shady. My personal favorite is Facebook Marketplace or either the Facebook forums. Now, people on the Facebook forums usually know how much their car is worth and won't really let it go for a steal. So Facebook Marketplace is usually the place to go. We found this car on Facebook Marketplace. It was about a 2.5 hour drive away. It was a little steep, but we only got this thing for $2,300. Now, sometimes you may not find something in your area, and if you're willing to drive out a little bit further, you can go ahead on Facebook and change your search location to a little bit away from you. So I recommend just checking everything within a 3.5 hour radius from you. Now, chances are you probably are not going to find a cheap project car with all matching body panels, everything's mint, the motor runs fine. That's usually not going to happen. Now, when we found this car, it recently got into a front end accident. The hood was damaged, the fender had slight damage. There was just little things all around the car, but I assessed the damage through the pictures and I saw that it was worth at least going to look at. Sometimes if a car is completely wrecked and just every single panel needs to be replaced, it's just not worth replacing. What I did with this car is that I knew it needed a new hood, so I looked up and saw how much I could find a used hood for. You want to figure out roughly how much you're going to spend on repairs for the car before you even go to look at the car. A good place to look for used parts is Facebook Marketplace as well. So through the pictures with this car, I already saw that it needed a new hood. I looked for a new hood, saw that it was roughly about $100. Also, the steering wheel's airbag already blew, so I looked at how much a new steering wheel would cost. The passenger side airbag also deployed, so it needed a new passenger side dashboard. We looked up the price for that. So you can never know how much it's going to cost you for sure, but you can get a rough estimate. I would definitely recommend looking up replacement parts for whatever car you're looking at before you even go ahead and offer on the car or even go to look at it. A lot of the times you can look at most of the damage through pictures. You want to zoom in, look at all the panels, see if the door is damaged, if there's any damage on the fender, if there's any damage on the hood, headlights, taillights. You want to make sure you look at everything through the pictures, because there's nothing worse than wasting your time and going to look at a car and just not getting it because it's absolute trash and it's not what you expected. So just take your time, look at the pictures, ask the owner as many questions as you can before you go to look at the car in person. Always ask for more pictures. You can never have enough pictures. You want to make sure that you know everything about the car before you even go to look at it in person. Personally, I'd rather find a project car that has more physical damage than mechanical damage. I'm better with repairing physical damage. It's just easier for me. I like it. Some of you might be better with mechanical damage, so some of you might want a car that has more mechanical damage but the body panels are still fine. So you probably want to opt for that. But personally, I go with something that has physical damage and not so much mechanical damage. I think it's much easier to assess physical damage because you already know what's wrong with it exactly, and you can figure out how much it's going to cost to repair. Now, if you guys are anything like me, you guys are going to be beating the piss out of your car. I'm telling you guys just have to make sure that the car is okay. And if it can't handle your little abuse on the test drive, it's not the car for you. When we went to go look at this car, I asked the owner if I could do a few pulls. It was kind of weird to ask. He wasn't really expecting that question, but he said sure. I did a few pulls on it. Now say you guys drive the car, you guys beat it up a little bit and it can handle the power, and this is the car that you want. Price. It's time to talk about price. Now with this car, the guy had it listed for I think $2,600 if I remember correctly. We walked away with it for $2,300. Now this situation, it was a little different. We drove about 2.5 hours to come see this guy. I rented a trailer from U-Haul. I borrowed somebody's truck. Once we got there, I tried talking him down. The guy just saw through my bullshit. He knew I was gonna leave with the car. I showed up with the trailer, I showed up with the truck, I drove that far in the middle of the night. He even told me that he knows I'm leaving with the car, so I wasn't able to talk him down that much, but we did get it for $2,300, which is pretty awesome. I would suggest learn from my mistakes. Don't show up with a trailer and a truck. Now, if you really want to leave with the car, you definitely want to try to bring the price down, but you don't want to disrespect the owner. You want to negotiate down where you're still getting a pretty good price, but not so much that the owner is going to feel disrespected. If the owner isn't really budging with the price so much, what you can also do is you can use the damage on the car as as leverage to bring the price down. Now, if the car has a bunch of door dings, point that out. Say that you want to lower the price because it has door dings, or if it has an exhaust leak, use that as leverage. And if you're gonna leave with the car, make sure that the title is an authentic title. Make sure the title matches the VIN number, and check every VIN number on the car. You don't want to go ahead and pay for a stolen car and then realize it's stolen, and then the police department takes the car back from you and you're completely out of the money that you spent on the project car. That would absolutely suck. I don't want to see that happening to you guys. You guys don't want to see that happening to you. So just make sure that everything is as it should be. At the end of the day, a project car doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. You don't have to waste all your money on a project car. You can find a project car for pretty cheap. You just have to be willing to put in the work. Now, to give you guys a little example, I'm gonna go ahead on Facebook Marketplace and I'm gonna try to find at least one car that I would take into consideration if I was looking for a project car. Now, what I'm gonna do is go ahead on Facebook Marketplace and I'm gonna search for a car that I kind of want but not want right now. A BMW E36. So now let's say the max I want to spend on a car is about $1,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and filters, put my max price as about $1,500 because I can always try to talk the guy down. All right, so I found a BMW sedan 328i for $900. Now, the only thing about this is that the body is a little bit beat up and it is an automatic transmission. It only has 104,000 miles, which isn't bad for an E36. You can see in these pictures that the front lip is a little messed up. The bumper is still fine. I can see over here that he literally just screwed the lip into the bumper. So either the bumper will need to be replaced or I'm gonna have to fix that. Looking at the rest of the car, the body panels aren't honestly too bad. I see a little bit of rust right over there, oxidation in the headlights, all that stuff is pretty normal. The interior is black, which is a little hard to find sometimes. Interior isn't in too bad condition. If I was to get this car, I would go ahead and manual swap it. As far as a cheap E36 drift car goes, it's honestly not that bad. Now, of course, I would not pay $900, especially when he's asking for an offer. Personally, I would go ahead and offer about $500 for this car and try to stick with that offer. Now, the reason why I say $500 is because you're gonna have to pay another $200 to $300 in a manual transmission and everything to do a manual swap. I've done it before on this channel. It took me about 2 to 3 days, but I was able to do it and it wasn't too bad. Now, of course, you're gonna have to spend money here and there. It's a project car and I would personally use it as a drift car. So as a cheap $900 drift car, this wouldn't be too bad. I'm kind of like really looking at it and I do want to test drive it. If it test drives perfectly fine, I'd kind of want this. It's honestly not that bad. It's honestly not that bad. What? No, I'm gonna put this away. I'm not getting another project. I am not getting another project. Let me put my phone away before I find anything else. But let's say if the guy did say no to $500, I would try to assess how much I'm gonna spend on the car before I make up my mind if this is gonna be my car or not. You wanna go ahead and make sure you add up all the repairs and how much you're gonna spend on the car just to get it running as you'd like, if that makes any sense. Now, when we bought the car started just fine, but it wouldn't stay alive. The battery was absolutely shot. We knew we were gonna spend a little bit on the battery. Then we also saw a few things here and there, like the front bumper I mentioned before. We knew we were gonna spend money on the bumper. Did I say bumper? I meant hood. We knew we were gonna spend money on the hood. We also knew that we were gonna need a new passenger side door, so we incorporated that. We added all the necessities we needed for the car, and it was about $500 to $600 in our heads. Now you add $500 to $600 on $2,300, and honestly, that is not bad. In reality, just to get the car running and all that good stuff, we spent about $700. Technically, Amanda got this car running and driving for $3,000. $3,000 for a 350Z with 160,000 miles that runs perfectly fine, has no issues now, is a pretty good steal. We've beaten the crap out of this car. This car has a welded diff, so we've already went drifting in it. A Nissan 350Z like this around us in New Jersey would be $5,000 plus. Amanda saved a ton of money by getting a car that wasn't in the best condition and just fixing it up. I know I probably didn't do that great of a job explaining exactly how I do everything. You guys know that I don't normally do these kind of videos. I kind of just do mods on the car and have a good time, but I really wanted to help you guys out. I want to help you guys that are looking for a project car and don't want to break the bank. So I really hope that I was able to teach you guys something. I hope you guys can go ahead and take what I said and you guys can apply it and get a project car for cheap. If you guys do use this method and actually end up getting a project car for a pretty good price, DM me on Instagram because I'd want to see that. It'd make me really happy just knowing that I was able to help you guys out. But I'm gonna end the video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something. Peace out.